Welcome to another episode of Dad Up, everyone. Thank you guys very much for joining me. I'm excited for the guest that I have on because he's one of the original creators of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he's got some new characters and new designs that he's come out with that I'm really excited for him to share and talk about. But I'm really excited to hear about his back journey, as I'm sure you are as well. But my good friend Howard Quigley Chang is on the Dad Up podcast. Welcome to the show, brother.
Oh, thank you. Glad to
First,
be.
first things first, Quigley.
Uh-huh.
Where'd that come from?
Okay, let me just clear up. I wasn't one of the original creators of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I was one of in the first wave. I designed hundreds of the toys that came out. I was a toy designer. It was my first job out of high school. I was 18 years old. I got to go through this quick. My One of my bosses, when I decided after a summer job I have to go to college, he didn't want to let me quit. He wanted to fire me as a joke. So Howard, your fire didn't sound good, so he looked up a character in the Jetsons, a guy named Quiggly, who gets fired. So he called me Quiggly, you're fired. So it stuck for 35 years, 36 years.
So people call you Howard or they call you Quigley?
Everyone calls me Howard, but then in the art world, and when I go to Comic-Con, when I'm at these shows, people know me as Quigley. That's my art name. And there's a book that came out with all these drawings I did back in the late 80s, mid 90s, with all my sketch art, and then it says Quigley on there. So that's what I'm known for.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think this little side note, I coached sports for 20 plus years,
Wow.
and it's funny, the kids that I coached when they were little guys, that are now, some of them are now grown and married and all that kind of stuff. Even to this day, if I run into them out in town or something, they still call me coach.
Yeah,
It's not Mr. Ward, it's not Brian, it's coach.
I get the same
It's
thing. I coached baseball for 3 years for my son's team, so I get that.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, let's dive into your backstory a little bit, kind of how you grew up, and then I mean, obviously you're artistic. I grew up as loving drawing and drawing characters. I drew all kinds of different things, but I had an experience of my own where my dream, my goal was to become a cartoonist, and that's what I wanted to do when I was younger. So I ended up going to college, and I took this art class, and one of the questions in the class that the teacher gave us was she wanted us the topic was draw a picture, create a picture that draws itself. That was the question. And we had to come up with this abstract kind of picture, and then we had to present it to the class. Well, me being, artistic in the caricature world where I drew, different characters, it was on a big poster board. I drew this cartoonish fox. It was, and what I had him doing was he was holding a pencil and only half of his body was drawn, and he was drawing himself because that's what she said. I want you to come up with a picture that draws itself. And so that's what I created. And I got ridiculed for it. The teacher's like, you didn't follow the directions. You misunderstood what I said. This is not what we were looking for. And I mean, she kind of blasted me in front of the whole class when I was
How old
presenting.
were you?
I was 19, 18, 19.
Okay, so you're older, but if a kid did that, that'd be
No,
like,
yeah,
wow.
no, no, yeah, no. I was in college, and all these all these other kids in the these college students in the class created all these different abstract kind of pictures where mine was the only cartoonish looking picture, and she ridiculed me for it, and I dropped out
Oh man.
because of it and never went back. I never picked up another pencil, never did any of that stuff, and yeah, off my dream went, and all because I blame it on that teacher, but.
Well,
Um,
I'd like to see some of those drawings one day.
I'll definitely show them to you. I still have that Fox picture too. It's crazy. I've got a whole portfolio of different pictures that I've drawn, and now over the years, I mean, this show is not about me. It's about Howard. But over the years, I've done things like I've built different caricatures for Christmas out of wood, and cut them out of wood and painted them for our yard, for our front yard, you know. So I've made Santas, and Snowman, Rudolph, the sleigh. I've done all that kind of stuff that we put out in the front yard. So I still have, you know, some skill left in me. It's just, it's been a long time that I really sat down and got back into drawing the way that, you know, that you might do now.
Well,
So.
once a creative, always a creative. And I know it depends. Like when you do it, how much joy do you get when you're doing it?
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun and it brings peace, it brings relaxation, it brings focus. It's
Yeah.
crazy. One of the things that I've gotten into in the last year, I've never done them before. I just kind of picked it up. I wanted to kind of be focused in one little area to kind of give me a little hobby other than my podcast was Legos. And
Mm.
so I never played with Legos as a kid, never. And I just picked it up like a year ago where I'm putting Legos together now and I've got shelves of Lego characters and stuff like that that are all over the place. Drives my wife crazy, but
I have a story like that too because I loved Legos growing up, but when my kids, this is about 12 years ago, when my kids, I freshly became a single dad. I got a Xbox at home, and they're playing Minecraft. And I don't know why, when they were doing it, I got into it and I was showing off. And I built an exact replica of the Getty Museum, the villa here in Malibu, California, like underground, up and everything. And the kids were kind of blown away of what I did. I was loving every minute of using Minecraft. So I posted on Instagram, and a lot of my friends' kids were like trying to get my autograph after that.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I haven't built anything out of Legos just kind of on my own. I'm still at the stage because you know it's fairly new to me, so I'm still at the stage where I'm following the directions in the book. But one of these days, maybe I'll create something on my own. But enough about me. I want to hear about you, kind of how you grew up, how you got into what you're doing, and what you did through not only being a part of the Ninja Turtles, but and then also I want to hear about your family as well because this is a parenting podcast. So,
Yeah. I mean, growing up, I was an immigrant family. I came to the United States when I was 6 years old. Grew up in a small city called San Pedro, which is about 20, 30 minutes south of downtown LA, right on the beach. So throughout my whole life, I had this, everyone would tell me I have a special skill, drawing. And even in third grade, the elementary school, South Shores Elementary, had a third grader design the school mascot. And that's my first, I'm much older. So when I was in third grade, I did my first little thing of animation using frames. And yeah, I always knew it was always around me. Hey, you can draw. There'd be art contests. I win all of them. I was a school journalist artist for the newspaper all through high school and after. So when I graduated high school, my mom wanted me to get a summer job, so I had a job at Blockbuster lined up. But she saw an ad in the newspaper that said, "Hey, there's a company asking for somebody who's artistic, who's a sculptor." I don't really sculpt, so we just picked up some water clay from the store and made my little Batman. But you know, water clay when it dries up, it cracks and it reshapes itself. So I took it to the interview the next day. Fortunately, they liked my personality. They hired me on the spot. And I never knew that that job would be lasting 8 years. While
wow.
going to college, it was a part-time job. And, when I first started, it was 1989. Ninja Turtle, the toys came out the year before. And where I'm from, no one ever even heard of the comic books because Peter Eastman and Laird created the comic book in Maine, the opposite side of the country. And they sold about 60, maybe 100,000 copies. That's not that much considering how many people they could have reached on the West Coast. So I had no idea what the Ninja Turtles were. So it was just a job, right? I'm just drawing toys, mashups, the enemies, Fugitoid, all those characters. So I didn't know those 8 years of designing hundreds of toys, not just Ninja Turtles, Happy Meal toys, Flash Gordon, Star Trek, but those Ninja Turtles were one of the most iconic toys in history, apparently. That many years later, I would go to Comic-Con. I'm still at my old bosses and I still hang out together. We're good friends. But they're legends in their own right. You know, the guys who sculpted the first Ninja Turtles and sculpted He-Man, all these toys that people grew up with. Those fans are now in their 40s, and they would come
Or
up,
older.
or older, yeah, but they come over and they would want autographs. And I never knew there was fans who would recognize the work that we did like decades ago. But the fans at Comic-Con are special fans where, like, hey, I'm a fan of, let's say, the Jaguar. I love the Cars Jaguar, right? I know the company, but I don't know who designed it.
Mhm.
But I was a super fan, so I knew the person, Ian McCallum, who designed the new Jaguars. But only a few people you would ask would know the name of the person who designed it, right? So when you go to Comic-Con now, yeah, some of those few fans recognize who I am, and they buy the book of all the sketches we did back in the late 80s, mid 90s. And they would ask me to sign it, we'd take pictures, and I realized, yeah, I was part of that amazing run of the Ninja Turtles, and it feels kind of good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Uh, well, maybe Ninja Turtle Lego would be cool.
I'm sure they have it. They have Ninja Turtle of everything. Fortnite. They have what is it? The Hello Kitty that came out recently on as a Happy Meal toy. They're
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah. And how many kids you got, and what are their ages?
Oh, I got three kids. They're older now, so my youngest one is 16, just getting her driver's license. My son's going off to college next month. And my oldest is turning 21 in November.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And are any of them artistic like you?
Man, I wish I could show you something. Yeah, they're like, especially the girls, man, they can do a art piece in like an hour. Like, hey, can you make me a painting of this landscape? And they'll blow you away.
Oh wow, it's funny. I have two boys and they're 26 and 23, and neither one of them are artistic. So whenever they have something that they need done, they always come to me to say, "Hey, can you help me?" Like my son built this is back when he was in college. He wanted to build a beer pong table. Uh, And on the beer pong table, he wanted SpongeBob. So I had to paint SpongeBob on this beer pong table for him. Uh,
Wow,
so
hey, man, you put that on Kickstarter, you'll make $1 million, man.
yeah, I don't think he ever played with that table at all, too, because it sat in my garage for the longest time. Um, but anyways, well, that's cool. I'm glad to hear that they're artistic, and they're obviously familiar with Ninja Turtles and all that kind of stuff because have grown around it. But I mean, it's awesome that you had that experience. Is there anything up and coming for Ninja Turtles at all that you're a part of?
Well, I have a bit of a story, kind of how you told me that teacher kind of threw you off and made you not be interested in art. When I was designing toys for Ninja Turtles, for Playmates Toys, I stuck around, did it for almost 8 years, right? But what happened then was a little mind shift that I had. I got sick of drawing, man. It was like a job, right? I'm in the morning to night drawing all day. I came home one day and one of my friends, just being a friend, asked me to draw him something because they knew I could draw. And I was like, "No, man, you pay me, dude. I don't want I don't want to draw anymore. I'm tired." And I had this little thought that I need to get away from it. And I always had this little yearning to start businesses. And that's another podcast in its own because I literally started over 20 businesses in the following 20 some years. It ranges from manufacturing to programming, apps, and you name it, right? So I took a whole absence. I didn't pick up a pencil for that long.
Wow.
But about 10 years ago, there was an event. I get sometimes they want me to come and speak now because I guess I was part of that whole iconic wave of the Ninja Turtles. So, I reconnected with the Playmates and they occasionally call me and hey, they want me to draw up some new toys and some ideas. And I'm still doing some right now. I can't disclose those information to you because of the NDA, but
Yeah,
some cool stuff coming up. I'm still doing stuff with them. And also, one of the reasons I'm here talking to you, Brian, is we launched a new business. Kind of a miracle that we even finished everything within 6 months, got to Comic-Con last month, displayed everything. People loved it. It's called Ancientz, with the Z at the end, not an S. I always think somehow in my generation, the Z sounds cool, right? Ancients.
no, I
And
like it.
it's a new IP. It's something that has been in my head for 12 years. And it took 12 years to finally meet somebody. I got remarried. I'm a divorcee, divorced 12 years ago. During the divorce, going through my spiritual revival and awareness, this idea came to me. It was visions I had through prayer, going through my lowest time. And I tried it multiple times, but it takes a lot of money and effort and time to develop an IP, a brand new IP.
Right.
So when I got remarried, her name's Gloria. We got married 6 months ago in February.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. We met a year and a half before, but when I first met her, she's also a believer, and she comes from video games. She was like a head marketer for Nexon, which is a huge $20 billion video game company right up there with Roblox. So she kind of sees what I'm doing, and she's saying that she's never seen anything like this. Why haven't anyone done this before? So they're basically, I'll get to that later, but because of that, we decided some miracles happened during that time. And when we got married, we decided let's just do this. For 6 months, we developed 8 characters, took it to Comic-Con, and man, we got some rave reviews. They invited me to speak on a panel. A company put up our billboard for free, digital billboard right in the middle of Comic-Con at night with our characters playing. And it was just amazing. And we just launched our Kickstarter, and we're hoping that people will kind of connect with it.
Oh, that's awesome. We're going to dive into that. I wanted to ask you though, you help, shape childhood toys through toys like Ninja Mutant Ninja Turtles. How does it feel to now be creating a universe that you hope will shape children's faith, values, and imaginations for the future?
Okay, well, I'll just start from, actually what my beliefs. When I said 12 years ago, I was going through a divorce when my kids were very little. Youngest one being 4. So she's 16 now. That's 12 years ago, right? 4, my oldest one being 9. And it was like the lowest time of my life. And, when I got into prayer, a lot of people, when they pray, they get, hope. They feel hope. They get healed, right? Or they have wisdom. They get wisdom. Me, I get visions. I get these visions and ideas. And I was looking at the Christmas tree during that low time, and I wanted to be the best dad to my kids who are now going to be in a broken home. And I was thinking, what can I get my kids for Christmas that is kind of meaningful instead of just Pokemon and Transformers and Legos. Um, so I looked up on the internet, hey, what can I find that's a toy that points to the Bible during Christmas, which I believe is the birth of Christ, right? So I looked up stuff, and there was Veggie Tales. I don't think my kids would have liked that toy at all. The cartoons did well. I'm so proud of them. Other toys I saw, David and Goliath wearing a loincloth, throwing a rock, and my kids would have cried and disowned me as a dad if I bought that for them for Christmas. That's just the way my kids are. And I think most kids, right? So I put two and two together. I go, why isn't there a toy that people can associate with the Bible that sometimes can be considered cool or edgy, right? And me being a former Ninja Turtle toy designer, my brain started working, and I eventually came out with some looks and designs, but I was never happy with it until 6 months ago when Gloria and I decided to go for it. And having her as a partner really put me in a different mode. She gave me a lot of faith in this project.
Hmm. And I think that through that process, you really started to discover a little bit more about yourself too.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, through this project, I just talked to Gloria this morning. Like, these characters are changing me, man. While we're doing this, it's changing, is helping our marriage. It's changing me as a dad, and I hope some of the viewers might think this might be cool. This is actually David. His
Oh,
eyes
that's
light
cool.
up, his hair strands.
That's cool.
He's basically a robot. If you look at robots all throughout the media, it's all human driven. A person controls a robot. It's like Power Rangers or all these other robot shows. Robotech, which I loved growing up. But this is run by the spirit of David, actual David in the Bible. He gets
Hmm.
summoned and resurrected by this one new technology. And they're here fighting a war against the evil. There's Goliath in the back, you see here.
Yeah.
My favorite up here is Sisera. He's a lopsided robot. One arm's a claw, one arm's a battering ram. And they're all characters in the Bible, as you can see here on David. You see
Yeah.
First Samuel 17, and they all have that. They have their name written on top.
That's cool.
You can see it's kind of Robotech-ish a little bit what
Right.
I grew up with.
Yeah.
But it's not like the Gundam characters where the heads are small and they look menacing. It's not about looking so cool, but they actually look cute, like the
Right.
turtle.
Right. No, that's really cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean that's the creativity behind that, and then I love how you have the Bible verse on there, the scripture name on there. That's awesome.
And
Um,
those are like figurine collectibles. These aren't toys that articulate. They're not the
mhm,
turtles. These are more expensive to be displayed. I'm trying to figure out a way where people can tap their phones. You can see more information about them. But these little versions, they're only 3 inches compared to 10 inches there.
mhm.
These are actually keychains, collectibles, kind of like the boo boo craze going on right now. You could hang it on your backpack, your purse, or you can put it on your wall. But these are more affordable, $35 characters made of
Oh,
vinyl.
that's awesome. So and that's the miniature version of David.
Yeah, so I have like 8 characters, uh, small versions of all of them. That's the Sarah on top, and that's the small version. You see that?
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That's really neat. Well, I mean, you talked about spiritual awakening that reignited your creativity. But as fathers, we all go through these pivotal, moments that redefine us. What did that awakening teach you about fatherhood and about legacy?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know how many of the viewers may have gone through a divorce or whatever. That's like the scariest part as a dad. And you're already showing your kids that things like this happen at a very young age. And it was a very uneasy part of my life as a father. What am I doing? How did I fail? But through that whole process of failure, I think I become a much better father, where I put extra effort into little things here. I don't know whether that was a positive thing or a negative to our kids growing up, but I went the extra mile on every little aspect of their lives. I could have been annoying at times, right? But then as a believer, I was also a little overprotective. I live in Southern California, which I think is I grew up here. This is the only place I know, but if you can see how the world is turning nowadays, it's really scary where they're growing up in. And as a dad, you try your best to control the environment, to control their upbringing. And the biggest thing I heard is I can't control them. And
Right.
I know I was a teenager, I was a kid. The more that my dad tried to control me, I just constantly would resist everything that he told me to do. So, what I've learned throughout the whole process is just do your best. I'm just gonna do my best. And if something happens or my kids get hurt or in any way, it's out of my control. The more I try to control them, the more they're gonna hate me, right? So that's what I learned. I mean, I remember in 2019, right before COVID hit, that was like the hardest time, man. I mean, financially, it was tough because I had to work from home simply to just be there for my kids while making a living. And I was coaching my son's baseball team. I don't know if you know what that's like. You're talking about 13, 14 hours a week practice and 2 or 3 games. And I was at supporting my youngest daughter's Girl Scout thing. My oldest daughter was on a golf team. So I'm 3 days a week, I'm driving back and forth while running a business. It was, and they all went to 3 different schools, elementary, middle school, and high school, but 3 different pickup and delivery times. So like it was so hard, but then at the same time, I was just full of just joy, man, being part of that. And I knew it wasn't gonna last, and I actually miss it, believe it or not. So at that time, it was just the joy of just doing my best and to sh show my kids I wouldn't complain at all, saying it's so hard picking you up. And they'll just see me smiling and doing whatever I can to be there for them. And I hopefully that made an impact.
Yeah. No, it certainly did. And I think one of the things that I used to do as a coach for my own boys is, I had to change my mindset a little bit because it was a used to, I used to think, "Oh, I've got to do this. I have to take them here. I have to coach this team. I've got to go here for this game." But I just changed my language and to the word get. I get to go do these things. I get to take them to practice. I get to coach their teams. I get to be a part of their journey in these sports that they're playing. And I know exactly what you're talking about because I was that guy too. Or my wife is she's legally blind and cannot drive. And so I was the one that was driving around everywhere. And my boys being, 2.5 years, 3 years apart, they were on two different teams. And sometimes playing two different sports. So we would be at the baseball field, and I was the head coach, so I'd back their practices up back to back. So like my younger son's practice would go first, and then I'd stay there for my older son's practice, and I'd run his practice. And then there were times where they were playing baseball, and then we were going and playing flag football. So we would leave the baseball field, head over to the football field, and do the same thing over again. And then we had games. You had baseball games typically on Saturdays. The football games were on Sundays. And I was coach. I mean, so I know exactly what you mean, driving everywhere, just doing this, this, this. But the funny thing is, I did it for 22 years. Um, if I didn't like it, if I didn't like
Oh,
it, I wouldn't have continued doing it, right? I coached at the high school level, varsity basketball, when my boys were going through basketball, playing basketball in high school. They played at a Christian high school in Upland, California. And it's funny, I continued coaching for an additional 2 years after my youngest graduated high school. So I had no boys on my team. None of my boys were on my team. My boys were both in college, and I was still coaching at the high school for a couple more years before I decided to hang it up and retire.
oh man,
And
I mean, you're a different level. I did that
yeah,
for a few years, you know.
yeah, it's just that, I just like connecting with the boys and developing the relationship with the boys, and it just was a lot of fun. And there are parts of me that miss it, but I tell you what, since I retired, my wife's like, "You say you're going to retire, but a year from now you're going to get back into it." And it's here we are. I mean, I don't know, 6, 7 years later, I'm still not back into it. So I actually enjoy it. But my younger son got a basketball scholarship to play college basketball, so he did that for a couple years until he got burned out. He wanted to step aside from basketball.
Oh
But
wow.
yeah, he was burned out. He said it was a lot of going to the gym every day, going to the court every day, and he had no free time. And he kind of wanted to experience the full college life. So he ended up dropping out of basketball. I lost the scholarship. So that's a whole nother podcast in itself.
I mean, it's every dad's dream. I mean, we go all out, not because we need them to succeed, but hey, man, they could have been an NBA player. Could have
Yeah.
been an NBA player.
Well,
My
that's
daughter could being a golfer on the LPGA, you got to hope for it. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Well, that was my son's mentality was looked at. I mean, he's 6'2", 6'2", between 6'2" and 6'3", and he goes, Dad, I'm not going into the NBA. I don't have any desire to go into the NBA, and I'm just burned out. And so I told him, I said, hey, it's your decision. You're a grown man. It's your decision. If that's what you choose to do, that's what you choose to do. So that's what he did. But anyways, um, so I wanted to ask you this though. You had creating Ancients it's more than just a collectible toy. It's a mission. Can you explain that to me?
yeah, I mean, like I said earlier in the podcast, I wanted something that has more meaning, especially for me. I feel like the Bible for me, because it was 12 years ago that I really opened myself up and had an encounter with God, and I started digging into the Bible, and it gave me so much hope and reading those stories of deeply into David and Goliath and Gideon and all the characters, Joseph, that um, I felt like there were different type of heroes. Like when you look at, how Superman, Batman, they have special powers. They didn't have special powers. They were weak. Like David was a little shepherd boy, a teenager, and all the warriors were afraid to go against a 9 foot tall giant called Goliath. But he went in there with faith, right? All the characters went in with faith. I felt like the toys that I want to eventually come out and be available for everybody will give people a sense of courage and hope rather than, hey, you got to have a superpower to get there. And the idea now, I mean, we're starting with figurine collectibles because this is something that we can manage, that maybe we can afford to do small runs. But to be an actual action figure, you got to have a company like Mattel or Playmates Toys or somebody big to take on that. And hopefully one day they'll want to pick up a license from Ancients to get it out in all the stores like Walmart and Target and the internet, what have you. But these are just collectibles we're starting off with. And maybe if somebody in a couple of years has a way to get into Netflix as an animated series, who knows, a movie or even video games. And that's the mission, to get these stories out there in the coolest way possible where you don't look up because I feel like Christianity or just religion in itself has taken a bad rap in the last how many decades. I mean,
Hmm.
my parents' generation, I think they were more open to it, but as we've evolved in this short amount of time, anytime somebody looks up Christianity, anything dealing with Christianity looks so outdated. So we're trying to make it cool again. There's a lot of companies out there doing that. There's a lot of movies out there coming out that are faith-based.
Right.
And I think this is an opportunity to come out from the toy sector, starting with collectibles and these images and these designs. I'm hoping people can resonate with, not just in the faith sector, but through the general public. Even the secular world might connect with it and find hope in it.
Yeah. I think about, as you're talking there, I'm thinking about uh faith-based toys that I may have come across. And you're right, there are a lot more faith-based movies that have come out. As a matter of fact, even the back a few years ago, the Kurt Warner story, American Underdog.
I love it.
Yeah, so I actually got contacted by that movie company to do a segment on my show where I do a little commercial spot for the movie before it came out. And they contacted me. At first, I thought it was a joke because you never know with messages that you get and stuff or emails that you get. And I decided to look into it and found out that it was a legit movie company that was producing this movie. And they wanted me to do this segment on my show promoting the movie before it came out, and they paid me a little bit of money to do it, so I was happy to do it. But yeah, American Underdog is one of those stories that, it's kind of faith-based story, but there's a lot of them that have come out and more that are coming out now. But when I think about toys, I don't see many, if
Yeah,
any.
so if any, right? I mean, like I said before, the Ninja Turtles, the comic book came out, but it was the toys that really made, to me, in my opinion, the wildfire, how quickly the toys sold made the IP, right? And from coming from a toy standpoint, I'm starting with collectibles. We have a origin story that I've had ever since we came out with this, how they came to be, but I'm not a writer. But everybody's asking, doesn't the story come first before the characters, the toys? But we're taking the opposite approach, and we're trying to get to a point where people are so curious and interested because they have a story already. It's in the Bible, right?
Right.
But they're now here. So yeah, the idea now is to just get these collectibles recognized by as many people as possible, social media and whatever we can get, the avenues we can get out to. We're hoping to meet up with, like people who are very open about their faith, the celebrities and athletes. Like, I really want to get in front of Tim Tebow. Tim, if you're watching, please connect with me. I want to do a Warrior series of well-known celebrities or stars or athletes who are really open about their faith. I want to do a version of this. Imagine a Tebow Ancientz, the Warrior series. I want to put a Florida Gators with your number, Philippians 4:13 here with the Broncos logo and your name Tebow up here. If you see this, please contact us. And Scotty Scheffler, if you're watching this, please, I'd like to do one of you. I'm very just proud of how Scotty Scheffler is very open and not shy about how he feels and all that. So that could be a whole new series for us.
Yeah. What about a comic book?
Yeah, well, I mean, um, again, I need a story for a comic book to come out, but I'm gonna create like a 5-page origin story of how these characters came to be. And we already have a handful of writers who are very interested in what we're trying to do. And they'd like to connect and maybe be the writer, and we can create a comic series on this. But not many people read comics anymore as they used to.
Right.
So I'm interested in maybe like an animated series or whatever. It costs a lot more money, but imagine a Netflix series on the characters and
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Ancients, one of the questions I wanted to ask you, Ancients fuses spiritual inspiration with futuristic storytelling. How can dads today blend faith and imagination and play when connecting with their kids?
yeah, I mean, like I said, all these Bible stories give hope to people who are weak, right? You don't have to be the jock in the school. You don't have to be, I mean, you can be somebody with disabilities, right? You can be somebody who's the weakest one in the school, but have all the hope and courage like David did fighting Goliath.
Hmm.
I hope dads would, hey, you may be the dad and you may have the most popular kid in school, the strongest, but there are many dads out there who um, doesn't have that. They can give hope and courage to their children based on the stories that are tied to these characters.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And I think it's wonderful what you're doing, the mission that you're on. And talk a little bit about Kickstarter and if somebody wants to get involved in that, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, we have a website called ancients.com. Again, that's ancients with the Z, not the S.
Mhm.
If you go there, our Kickstarter link should be at the top. If it's still running when you're watching this, um, you can go there, make your pledge. We have our video. I don't know if you saw the Kickstarter video. Our video plays explaining who we are and what we're trying to do. You can go down the page and see all the variations of characters that we have on the right side of the page. If you look on your phone, there's a campaign and rewards section that you can actually make your pledge. And Our small versions are now $35. The larger ones could be up 300 something. That Goliath is like 1600 bucks because it's a 20-inch resin figure. It's huge. They're
Hmm.
collectibles. They all have light up features. The smaller ones have the keychains. So we're trying to get these out there. We need to sell enough so we can get the first tooling done in manufacturing. The fastest we can get something done. We wanted to get Christmas, but it's going to be very tough. All the factories are pretty busy. We're even considering manufacturing a lot of it here with the tariffs and everything.
Right.
So, yeah, we're very excited. Go to our website, and our Instagram has a lot of our stories. Instagram is ancients_official. That's again Ancients with the Z underscore official. If you go to Instagram, please follow us. Check out a lot of our posts, and if you can like a lot of them and invite people in, I very much appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and did you say the name of your website again?
Yeah, it's ancients.com.
Okay,
And yeah,
ancients with a Z.com. That's
yeah.
right. Well, cool. Well, Howard, listen, dude, I'm glad we got a chance to connect, and we're both here in Southern California. Maybe one of these days we can meet up for lunch or something and break some bread together and talk a little bit more.
I don't know where you live, but I feel like you gotta come over and check out these characters
I
because
have to come over. I
I mean,
do.
people what people say is when they see it in person, it's a whole different experience.
Okay, you open the invite. I'm coming over. I'm
Just
I'm
connect with.
in I'm in Murrieta.
Oh yeah, I golf there once in a while down at Journey at Temecula. I'm
Uh,
all the way in Lawrence though, by the LAX airport, kind of far.
okay, okay, no,
You make
no
a trip
worries.
up.
Yeah, I'll make a trip out there one of these days, and I'm not going to drop in. I'll make sure I send you a text. I'm just not going to show up at your door. But no, I'm excited to continue our friendship. Thank you very much, brother, for being on. I appreciate it. Keep the mission up, and I hope that through this episode we get a little bit more attention on what you're doing, the mission that you're on, and promote the kickstarting as well. So thank you very much for being on, brother. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me today, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, guys, this has been another episode of Dad Up. I want to thank my good friend Howard Chang for being on the show. Please make sure you check out all the links in the show notes below where you can go and see a little bit more about what he's doing. His website's there, Kickstarter's there, all those things are there. Make sure you follow him as well on Instagram. I've already followed him, so please do that as well. And listen, if you are not yet subscribed to my show, please make sure you do that so you don't miss any of the awesome guests that I have on each and every week. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all on the next episode of Dad Up. Wow, another amazing episode in the books. So much was shared, and I'm truly grateful my guest was able to pour into you to help you elevate your dad game and really dad up. Make sure you bang that subscribe button so you don't miss a single episode. And while you're here, please don't forget to leave me a rating and a review. I always appreciate the feedback. And one last thing, don't forget, your role as a dad is one of the most important roles you have. So if you need a little help or have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me on my website at daduptribe.com or at my Instagram page at Dad Up Podcast. Until next time, everyone, Dad Up.